Alright. What's good, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So as you guys have probably seen from the last couple of videos, and probably the next couple of videos going forward, I'll be randomly and sporadically posting videos about pretty much whatever I want. Of course, all of those conversations are going to be well within the realm of Pokemon, but the only problem is that Pokemon in of itself doesn't really have a lot going on right now. It's a very heavy downtime. Sure, I could make some theories and speculations about what the DLC is going to offer, but in all honesty, I have absolutely no idea what we could possibly talk about. Sure, I'll definitely talk about it when something comes up, but until further notice, there is no news on the DLC, no news on Pokemon Home, and absolutely nothing regarding anything in the realm of remakes or anything to come after Generation 9, so we're just gonna have to be patient and wait around. However though, that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to sit around and do absolutely nothing. I've once again settled into a little routine for myself that will allow me to comfortably sit down and make a couple of videos every now and again for you guys. I also have 3 new weekly series that I'd like to start up for you guys. Obviously, one of them being all of my reactions to pretty much every episode of Pokemon Horizons. Another one being the Shink solo run, which, if we finish one game, we'll probably just move to a different one. And finally, a community discussion series. Starting at the beginning of next week, every week consistently going forward, I would like to ask you guys questions pertaining to the Pokemon series. It's the same as always. I ask you guys some random question, you guys give me enough responses, and we could set something up within the week, and I'll probably get it up to you guys, we'll say maybe every Friday for the time being. That's just to give you guys a general plan of how we're going to be going about this for the next couple of months. Whew, alright, sorry for the long-winded introduction. I felt the need to explain myself because the last 2 videos I feel like I didn't really do that, and every time I go dark I feel the need to apologize and really try to justify myself, but in reality, there's really not much we can do about real life taking over now, is there? But I'm here, that's the general plan, and now that I've explained myself, we can finally talk about the topic at hand for this specific video. You've seen the title and you've seen the thumbnail, and anybody that's been around on this channel for even a little while already knows that we've kind of touched upon this topic every now and again, usually around the time where a new Pokemon game is on the verge of release. However, while it has been brought up for individual games what our wishes are for customization in the newer Pokemon games, I'm at the point where I think it just deserves its own topic. And I'm definitely going to be explaining myself the further that we get into the video. However, this is about more than just fashion in these games. I think we may as well just go ahead and dive right into this. First, let's go ahead and address the current situation. 9 times out of 10, there is always some kind of issue with customization in these games. In most cases, it's simply the lack of it, if we're being honest. The primary issue, especially as of recently, is the fact that they just decide to put limitations on what kind of clothing and decorations we can put on our characters, which makes almost no sense. There were only 2 times where this wasn't a problem. Gen 6, where the concept was just introduced, it was brand new, so it's only fair. And naturally, Generation 8, where fashion absolutely peaked. And of course, Pokemon Legends is up for debate, but honestly, I don't even put that in the running only because we're super limited on a very specific style of clothing that we're allowed to wear in that game, so I feel like that's in its own situation. Now, here's the primary issue. We're now in an age where this concept is regressing somehow. Which is honestly extremely frustrating to me considering the fact that in a lot of other aspects, the series has made incredible strides. Why is it with this aspect specifically that they decide that it's okay to just completely fall short? Why is it that with Gen 9 especially, we have taken such unnecessary steps back? Was it for the sake of aesthetic? I can tell you right now, that simply was not worth it. The reason that this upsets me so much is that Pokemon always advertises that they're constantly trying to give us this grandiose illusion of the ultimate case of immersion. This is you. These are your Pokemon. They are your friends. Take care of them, feed them, play with them, learn with them, live with them. And that's totally fine and dandy. I'm definitely one to argue that you guys have only gotten better at that immersion over time. However, when you do stuff like this, you tend to put your focus in the wrong places. For one thing, and we've talked about this already, I'm not going to dive into it completely again, if you guys want us to be immersed, maybe finish your games before you put them out. And another thing, the thing that actually relates to this video, is the fact that decoration of any kind is one of the strongest forms of expression. Being able to wear whatever I want, however I want, is how I express myself as a person. I don't know if you guys realize this, but at least 8 times out of 10, nobody wants to look exactly like somebody else. So here you guys are trying to achieve maximum illusion and immersiveness. However, right after Pokemon Scarlet and Violet dropped, every time I would look up the game on any social media, whether it be Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, or whatever, every time I would see a black dude playing, their character would have the exact same attire as mine. Let me tell you something, Chief. That's not it. That is not it in any way, shape, or form. It was already kind of bad in previous games, but at least we had different outfits there. Ugh, and while I could talk about that all day and night, like I said earlier, this is about much more than just clothing. For one thing, I'm hoping that down the line they get a little bit more flexible when it comes to the age of the characters that we're playing as. Believe it or not, my biggest gripe with these games isn't even about the clothing, it's about this aspect right here. As a matter of fact, this is one of the first problems that I've ever had with the Pokemon franchise well before I started doing anything YouTube related. Nothing kills my immersion more, especially in the story aspect, than when our character is constantly perceived as just some annoying child. That may work for actual kids that play these games, but it doesn't work for me and the entire generation that grew up with these games. There's nothing more jarring to me than an array of NPCs telling me stuff like, "What do you know? You're just a kid." And then there I am, some 24-year-old grown-ass man sitting behind the screen with the controller in his hand, with his hand on his forehead. Even though I have proven myself throughout the game time and time again that I'm capable of handling them and their goons or whatever's happening with whatever team I happen to be fighting against, I'm just some kid. Great. Awesome. Now again, this wouldn't be a problem if the character was predetermined. They had their own personality, they had their own story going on. But this is supposed to be me. This is my character. They don't really say much. This is supposed to be my journey. But I'm a kid. Why would I want to be 10 years? I don't want to be 10 years old in this world. I would want to be me. And see, here's the thing. I think that I'm more irritated with this situation now more than ever, specifically because Scarlet and Violet had the perfect opportunity to create a college-like situation. And they basically did. But when it comes to our character, they did absolutely nothing with that concept. We get to go to school with these grown-ass folks, these old-ass people, but I still have to be 10 years old for some reason? I still have to be this reckless child? Alright then. I just want to feel like me, and the best way to do that is to just make things a tad more universal. It's not just children playing anymore, it's the kids that grew up with the series, and in some way, shape, or form, I think I would like for that fact to be acknowledged. The game's mechanics and difficulty already treat me like I'm 5. I don't need it telling me that I'm 5 too. Now, I can be realistic. I don't really see the actual fact of us being 10 years old in these games ever really changing. It's probably one of the most universal things that they're willing to do. However, I would appreciate it very much in the aspect of the story if we prove ourselves time and time again to be a worthy adversary to somebody. We are acknowledged not because of our age, but because of our skill. If I get told one more time in one of these games that I'm just some dumb kid, what do I know? I'm going to fight somebody. And not in a Pokemon battle, I'm throwing paws, I swear to God. And you know what, while we're at it, I guess this also kind of plays into the aging situation here, but when it comes to like blemishes and scars and stuff like that, where's the realism there? Yeah, sure, we could add some moles, some freckles here and there, make it look cute, whatever. What about some acne? You're telling me that I can't have some real-ass scars on my face? I've got a full beard, for Christ's sakes. Why can't I add a little beard? At least maybe a little peach fuzz, you know, the kind that middle schoolers are proud of when they grow that in? I can't have something, bro? Come on now. We've already talked about it thoroughly by now, and we're gonna go ahead and move on, but I'm just saying, I can only make the eyes and nose and mouth change so much before it maybe kind of looks anything like me, but not really. It's just simply not enough. Now, when I originally wrote this script about like a month ago now, I did originally have a section talking specifically about the clothing aspect, but in reality, there's not really much to talk about there. If we're talking about a customization aspect at all, the clothing is one of the most important parts. I feel like I don't really need to say out loud that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is an absolutely extreme example of what not to do when it comes to the clothing aspect. That was not okay. And again, even before Scarlet and Violet, Generation 8 was definitely better, however, it was still heavily lacking. I'd love to wear a long sleeve shirt and a vest on top with some shorts like I would wear in like real life or something like that, but unfortunately, that's just not possible because they said it's not possible because allegedly people don't actually do that. So, whatever you say, Pokemon. But again, I digress. No, the final important aspect is actually something that we made an entire video about a very long time ago. In that video that I made over 2 years ago now, I essentially explained that I feel that we should have weight in our decisions when playing these games. You want the customization aspect to feel good and strong? Let the players forge their own path. Then they'll really feel like they're creating their own situation, their own true character. You want to immerse us, make us really feel like we're in this world? Then let it feel like what I say and do with people in this world feel like it actually matters. Throughout all of pretty much Pokemon history, you guys have developed these little responses. Sometimes a character will say something to you, and you'll have maybe 2 or 3 options. And 9 times out of 10, none of your responses matter. Yeah, sure, you might get a cute response here and there, but in reality, it's nothing more than that. At the end of the day, all of those responses lead to the exact same outcome. And I just can't help but think to myself, why go out of your way to even develop something so ultimately pointless? Now, everybody can believe what they want when it comes to this aspect of things, but I believe that creating your character's personality through the way they talk and respond to people and how they affect the world is just as much of a feature of customization as pretty much anything else I've mentioned in this video. Personally, I felt a lot more connected with pre-established characters from other video game series just because what I actually did and said in those games actually affected things around them. Hell, even looking at a character like V from Cyberpunk 2077 and comparing that to our main characters from the Pokemon series overall makes our characters look almost soulless. Even though V is a pre-established character in that game, you can choose their responses, and those responses actually have long-term effects. Going forward in that game, people have a general idea of what to expect from you going forward. For example, let's say somebody hires V for a mission and they want them to do it in a very specific way. Now, of course, you are the player, so you get to choose how you go about said mission. You could do it the way that they asked, or you can go rogue and do it a completely different way. If you do it the wrong way, chances are that person that hired you is not likely to work with you again. Hey, sometimes it is what it is, but you know what? At least I had the power to make my own decisions. Now more than ever, I'm fully aware that all of the decisions that I make hold actual weight. I now know that I could either follow the rules or create an insane reputation for myself. And that right there is the true power of real customization. Now, just to clarify something here, this is not me saying that the Pokemon main characters should start having their own voices or anything like that. I just feel like I'll feel a lot more connected to my character and the world around them when what I do and say actually means something. And of all the things that I've talked about in this video, I don't think that this here is that crazy of an ask. I do have another example that I could use, but I think that that's saved for another big special video. That one's going to be probably one of the weirdest videos that I've done on this channel in a very long time, but I think a lot of you guys are going to enjoy it. Anyhow, the general gist of it is, I just think that we could do a lot better in this department. Pokemon as a franchise has the ability to have one of the biggest, strongest worlds and characters in the entirety of the world, and they always manage to squander it somehow. I think that when it comes to allowing us true freedom in these games, I think that the customization aspect is probably one of the first big stepping stones that they really need to take a look at. Okay, well, technically the crunch and yearly release cycle is the first real issue, but once they've tackled that, from a gameplay technical standpoint, once they've figured out that whole development, we're in for a much better time. But hey, that's just me. Whew, alright, so that just about does it for this video here. I'd like to talk freely for a second. I'm so sorry that I've been so inconsistent. I thought I was in a rhythm, I actually wasn't, but I'm gonna do my best starting these next couple of weeks, because once this video goes up, it's gonna be a barrage. So we'll see what happens when the video does actually drop, because by the time this comes out, I'll have a couple more things to talk about as well. But overall, what are you guys thinking over there, huh? Do you think that I'm on the money with something? Do you think that the future of customization could make for much stronger Pokemon games? Do you feel that the choice-making decisions and stuff like that actually will have an effect in the long term on the quality of these games? Or do you think that that has absolutely nothing to do with it? We could totally go without any of these aspects when it comes to Pokemon games, and we should just move forward without ever considering this ever again. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always down there with you guys. But with that, it does seem to be skedaddle o'clock. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this right here. And with that, I'm gonzo. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!